It was early spring, the kind of morning where fog hugs the ground and every breath smells like promise. My daughter, Emma, had just turned 16. Instead of begging for a car or a new phone like most kids, she asked me to teach her how to plow. Really plow. She wanted to learn how to respect the soil, shape it, and give something back. That morning was her first solo run. I watched from the porch, coffee in hand, as she maneuvered our old John Deere tractor across the eastern field. Awkward, sure, but focused. The determination in her eyes reminded me so much of her late mother. It hit me right in the chest. Then came the sound that would become my personal alarm bell, the sharp, impatient click of high heels on gravel. Victoria Knox, president of the Cedar Ridge Homeowners Association, stormed up my driveway with her usual entourage, a retired hairdresser named Gary, who now called himself security. "What is she doing?" she barked, eyes locked on my daughter. "Plowing," I said calmly. "It's a farm. This land falls under HOA jurisdiction," she snapped. "Agricultural activity violates subsection." "No, it doesn't," I cut in. "This property predates your HOA by nearly a century. You don't own a square inch of it. You are inside our boundary," she said, raising her voice. "And we've had complaints about noise, mud, and visual disruption." "From who, cows?" I asked. Her face turned the color of a ripe beet. She yanked a paper from her folder. "This is your first warning. Your daughter is operating machinery without a permit, and she's damaging HOA-maintained greenbelt. You'll be fined." Emma shut down the tractor and walked toward us. Dirt streaked across her jeans, chin high. "Is there a problem, Dad?" "Yes," Victoria hissed. "You're trespassing. We don't allow unlicensed minors to operate farm vehicles on HOA land." "This isn't HOA land," Emma said evenly. "Are you going to let your daughter speak to me like that?" she demanded. "I raised her to speak truth to power," I said flatly. "Maybe you should take notes." Gary shifted awkwardly. "Maybe we should just let this go, Victoria. That field's always been there." She silenced him with a glare. "You've got 72 hours to stop all activity and remove the machinery," she said, dropping the citation into my hand. Then she marched off like she'd just declared war. Emma looked at me. "They can't be serious." "Oh, they're serious," I said. "But they picked the wrong field. I wasn't just some old farmer tending family soil. I was a retired master sergeant, U.S. Army, 30 years of service. And this land, bought by my great-grandfather in 1911, had been paid for in sweat and sacrifice. No clipboard queen was going to take it." Over the next 24 hours, we got 3 more notices. One taped to our gate, one in our mailbox, which they're not even allowed to open, and another shoved under the barn door labeled Final Enforcement Warning. That night, Emma and I sat on the porch watching the sunset over freshly turned soil. "I'm not scared of them," she said. "Good," I told her. "Because we're not backing down." I stayed up late at the kitchen table with maps, deeds, and tax records spread around me. The documents proved our land lay outside HOA boundaries, confirmed, certified, and stamped by the county in 2008. This wasn't about a tractor anymore. It was about legacy, about my daughter's right to work the same ground her ancestors did. 2 mornings later, an HOA property surveyor arrived. Khakis too clean, clipboard too full, and arrogance to spare. "I'm conducting a boundary verification survey for Cedar Ridge HOA," he said. "That sounds like a lot of words for trespassing," I replied. "I have permission to be here under HOA ordinance. Unless that ordinance comes with a county seal or a sheriff's warrant, you're not stepping past that gate," I said. He blinked. I pulled a laminated map from my back pocket. "See this? Parcel 19B, bought outright, surveyed twice, last time in 2008. This is my land. Always has been." He scribbled something, then left without another word. By nightfall, another notice showed up, this one signed personally by Victoria with a hand-drawn map that looked like a kid's art project. She'd simply redrawn HOA borders to swallow my eastern field. Emma leaned over my shoulder. "She can't just make up a map, right?" "She can try," I said. "That's the problem. When bureaucrats run out of law, they use volume." I called Clay Dobson, an old Army buddy turned attorney. "Ever hear of an HOA trying to annex a farm using bad Photoshop?" I asked. He laughed. "You in trouble?" "Not yet, but I smell it coming. Want me to dig through their charter filings?" "Do it." That night at dinner, Emma looked worried. "What if they make us sell?" "They won't," I said. You can't sell what they don't own. She poked at her food. I didn't mean to cause trouble. I reached across the table. You didn't cause anything. You just stood your ground. The next day, Victoria returned with 2 board members, a smug guy in a pink polo and a woman who hadn't smiled since Reagan. They stood outside the fence like they were addressing an unruly subject. We're giving you one last chance to comply voluntarily, the man said. What you call compliance, I said. I call surrender. The community finds your tone hostile, the woman added. And I find your presence illegal. Victoria's jaw tightened. If you escalate, we'll pursue civil mediation. I leaned on the fence. You know who built this line? I asked quietly. My great-grandfather. By hand. Took him 2 summers. And you think I'm going to let a few HOA volunteers with a Google map tell me where my land starts? They left without another word, but not before snapping pictures of my barn. They're trying to scare us, Emma said. Yeah, I said. And they don't know who we are. That night, I attended their board meeting. The clubhouse reeked of coffee and entitlement. Victoria sat at the head of the table like a queen addressing peasants. When they called my name, I carried a binder thick with certified deeds and county maps. This land has been in my family for over a century, I began. Your citations are invalid. You're enforcing beyond your jurisdiction. Victoria gave a patient smile. Mr. Weller, boundaries can be confusing. They're not, I said. They've been the same since 2008. What's confusing is how your new map looks like it was drawn in crayon. A ripple of laughter broke the tension. Mark, the treasurer, turned on a projector showing a satellite image scribbled with red lines. We passed an expansion vote last August, he said. For your members, I replied. I'm not one of them. They offered me compromise, reduced dues, a newsletter, landscaping coverage. I laughed. You think I'm fighting for a newsletter? I'm fighting because you threatened my daughter while she worked our land. 5 minutes later, they dismissed my complaint. No vote. No discussion. Just smug smiles. I walked out knowing they thought they'd won. They hadn't even seen me fight yet. That night, I dug deeper. County records, HOA filings, zoning maps. All public, if you know where to look. And buried in their meeting minutes was my smoking gun. Boundary adjustment includes parcels 19B, 19D under preliminary oversight. Legal confirmation pending. They knew they didn't own my land. They just hoped we'd roll over before anyone noticed. I called Clay the next morning. We're going on offense. He chuckled. About time. I arrived at the HOA office the next day with a folder full of notarized documents and a rolled-up survey map. Victoria, Mark, and a police liaison were waiting. Mr. Weller, please sit, she said. No thanks. This won't take long. I laid the folder on the table. Certified copies of our deed and map. County verified. My land isn't yours. It never was. She pulled out her fake map. Our updated assessment. That's not an assessment, I said. That's a coloring book. Her eyes narrowed. If you refuse voluntary compliance, we'll seek legal enforcement. I slid a sealed envelope across the table. That's a cease and desist drafted by my attorney. One more fraudulent fine, one more trespass, one more fake notice, and I'll bury this board under so much paperwork you'll need shovels instead of clipboards. Mark flipped the first page and went pale. I leaned closer. By the way, the county confirmed your expansion never existed. You altered maps and spent HOA funds doing it. That's fraud. Victoria opened her mouth, but I cut her off. It starts with I and ends an investigation. I walked out before anyone could speak. That night, I sent copies of the letter to every board member and CC'd the county clerk, zoning office, and a local journalist who wrote about HOA abuse. The next morning, I woke before sunrise. The air felt lighter, sharper, like the calm before a fight you know you'll win. By noon, the neighborhood was buzzing. My community packet of evidence spread like wildfire. Homeowners who'd been quiet for years suddenly found their voices. We paid for what? One message read. She lied to us. By the afternoon, the HOA Facebook group was a war zone, and I didn't have to post a single word. That evening, Emma ran into the house, phone in hand. Dad, you've got to see this. She showed me a live stream from the HOA meeting. The camera shook as residents yelled at Victoria, demanding answers. You lied about the county rejection, one shouted. I was protecting the community, she screeched back. Someone held up our deed on camera. You tried to steal his land. Then, the moment that would end it all, Victoria pointed straight at the phone and screamed. He's dangerous. He's manipulating you. That clip went viral before the meeting ended. The room voted no confidence. She was removed on the spot. Within weeks, 4 more board members resigned. Carla Jennings, a level-headed neighbor, stepped in as interim president. The first thing she did was issue a formal apology. We owed Jack Weller and his daughter an apology and gratitude. They reminded us that leadership is service, not control. Victoria's house went up for sale 2 weeks later. She left quietly, no farewell post, no parting threats. It's been 3 months since the court finalized everything. Yes, court. The judge ruled in our favor. The HOA acted outside its jurisdiction, misused funds, and defamed us publicly. They were ordered to reimburse legal fees, issue written apologies, and submit to independent audits. Now the fields are quiet again. Real quiet. The kind that comes after a storm when the soil is damp and the world feels right. Emma still plows every weekend. The tractor hums steady through the rows, and sometimes I catch her smiling at the horizon, strong, confident, free. You think it's over? Clay asked at our fall harvest fair. It's not over, I said. It's just back where it should be. Because the fight was never just about land. It was about dignity, about making sure that when someone tries to take what's yours, you've got the strength to look them dead in the eye and say, not today. And if you ever hear heels clicking down your driveway, remember what I told Emma. They can't own the ground beneath your boots if you don't let them.